Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Pretty well. I wanted to give the people some more time with us to chat. Plus, I could talk to you all day. I just wanted to be able to ask you some more questions, kind of open up your mind a little bit more. I mean, these are things that we do on the regular, but I wanted to give us an environment where other people can understand our perspective, maybe give some insights and, new mind fuel for anyone else out there. For anyone who doesn't know, this is Ricky. Ricky, my roommate. Ricky Sauce. The Rick's the Trickster.
Sauce Monster.
so many names. I love being this kid's roommate. I've been his roommate for 3 years, and we've had some amazing adventures with each other. Let's have another one today, yeah?
Let's go, let's do it, man. Thank you for inviting me. The other day you called me just writing my board, man. I'm kind of happy you kind of want me to sit down again to kind of just talk. I like doing this. I like just sitting down and talking. just trying to share my story to everybody else.
Yeah.
See who I can impact, who can learn from my story. I'm always down to just share. To talk.
Cool. What you sipping on, by the way?
This is actually the other video I mentioned. I run my own social commerce business. It's actually one of our energy drinks that we have. Zero sugar. It's a healthier alternative than your average Monster, your Red Bull, and your average energy drink out there. So it's just something that I sip on, give me energy throughout the day. So
awesome. Little cheers. I got a little nice little tea.
Oh yeah.
So this is how we get down.
Be comfortable, man. Comfortable situation. This is what it is.
First and foremost, let's talk to me about what you're passionate about. Let's start there. I know you love life, okay, and I know you cherish it. You love people, but let's talk about your passion. Like, what are some of your main passions?
That's a question that I've always tried to answer myself, because it's a very tricky one. It's a very simple one. I thought my passion before was baseball or wrestling or whatever it may be. I'll tell you this right now, it's definitely not school. School for me is just really hard, for my concentration. But I guess right now my passion is trying to motivate people, just trying to change people's lives. The reason why I started the business, is because I want to see how many people I can change, how much impact I could have on society. I'm always the type of person dude, what can you do in order for you to be able to motivate, to inspire, to change someone's life, to make someone's perspective change. I guess that's what my passion is. As cliche as it may sound, I could say,
I don't think it's cliche.
No, I don't think so either, but not everybody understands. Sometimes I get tripped up on my own words, because I just have so much going on up here that I start, just muttering, but I guess for me, passion would be just kind of trying to see how many people's lives I can change. I didn't have the best, I guess humble upbringing, you could say, and I feel like someone's story can definitely change someone else, and I feel like that's what I want to do. People can learn from my story, they can learn from my experience, and it could be just anything from my trauma, from just what's happening up in my mind. There's so much stuff that goes up in here that I've been through that I feel like people can just learn from, and that's what kind of also inspired me to hopefully one day I'm gonna write a book, just trying to see who I can impact, and that's what I guess that's what passion for me would be, just trying to see
impact, influence, positive energy. Exactly. I think does it pay to have passion, and does it in the long term, does it pay to be passionate about things, people? In your case, you're passionate about inspiring anyone from ages newborn to you could be on your deathbed, and Ricky would be trying to make sure that he has a positive impact on the life they live. So what's the investment on being passionate?
I guess for me the investment of being passionate can just extend to, like I said, changing lives. That's the investment. I could talk to 1,000 people, but if I change one person's life, that for me is the greater investment, because for so long, I've always I put blame for so many things that happened to me, and then I had to find ways, eventually I kind of got to this mindset, dude, no one's gonna come and save you, you have to deal with it on your own, but and that was just the environment that I was in. That was the environment that I thought I was in. You know, I was so stuck in this survival mode that eventually kind of took me to like no one's coming to save you. You know, so I had to dig myself out of this hole. And I couldn't look for anybody else, you know, because I didn't know how to look for anybody else. I closed myself off, you know. So if I could change someone's life, that's the investment, you know. That's the investment. I like it when people come up to me. She's like, Ricky, you're so like inspiring, you know. You're so motivating, you know. And I'm just being myself, you know. I'm just sharing. That's what it is. I just share my story, you know. I'm no different, you know. I'm no different than nobody else. What makes me different is being willing to have the courage and the audacity to kind of just speak about what happened and anything like that. And
to have a voice.
To have a voice, you know, exactly.
And to use it.
Exactly, you know, I mean.
Are you passionate about using your voice and amplifying it? Like, speak about like the ability that you'll be able to have at a larger scale when it comes to being passionate about sharing a voice.
Exactly, you know. I mean, let me just talk about like sharing a voice, you know, just the impact that God was able to bless us both with a big voice. You know, we're very like open-minded, you know. We're always trying to seek answers, you know. That's all we've done, you know. We suck answers, and with answers, you know, you can't just keep them close to yourself, you know. If you can change people's life, then why not? You feel me?
Yeah.
You have such a powerful voice. That's what we were blessed with. Such a big voice, you know. We could use it to either to talk to one person or to talk to millions of people, you know. Hopefully one day we'll get to the stage where we're able to talk to millions of people, you know, because that's what using your voice is, you know. Your voice is your biggest tool and your biggest asset, you know. Aside from your mind, obviously, you know, but what you speak is what you believe, you know, and what you believe you have to speak it, you know. I
mean, what you speak is in correlation with what you think, you know.
Exactly.
So
100%.
Your mind, your thoughts, and your voice follows your mind. You know, the thought precedes the action and speaking. You know, so 100%. I think they're definitely well aligned with each other. You know what? I also feel like it might be a little bit lost when people have passion is not having enough discipline with their passions.
Right.
Because I mean, a lot of times I'm a person who wants to seek out financial independence, and I mean, these are things that I've heard like growing up. Oh, chase your passion. Your passion will be able to open up and unlock doors for you. But like, what does it actually really mean to be like disciplined towards a passion so that it creates results, like real life results for you?
I mean,
and what do those results look like? Because they could come out in different forms.
So just chasing your passion, you need to have discipline first of all. You know, you can't have nothing without discipline. You know, passion is almost like if you're motivated. You know, motivation comes and goes. You know, you're always in this constant loophole, like this. You know, but with discipline, it's able to kind of keep you up here, and then if you fall, it keeps you stable. You know, whether you're down or you're low, you know, your habits and your discipline is what keeps you going. You know, whatever happens, you know, you're not falling back down. You know, your discipline and your habits is what's able to sustain your growth that you're making. And it's just kind of one of those things that like for me, for example, you know, like every day, you know, sometimes it's an everyday battle. Sometimes I don't even want to get out of bed. Because I'm just like, it's not that I'm not unmotivated. It's just that like, I just don't want to get out, you know. So many things playing a factor why I don't want to get up, you know. But your habits and your discipline is what gets you up, you know. Some days I have fully nothing, you know. Some days I'm just like a robot, you know. I'm just strictly relying on the discipline that I've built in myself, the habits that I've built in myself, you know. I know if I stick to something, you know, within those aspects, I know whatever happens throughout the day, I know I'm moving forward, you know. It's one of those things you can't look backwards, you know. You have to keep moving forward, you know. What's in the past is in the past. You can't change the past, you know.
And then how does your passion for things you know, stay consistent or grow, knowing that you have to have this level of discipline in order to get over like the hump, the initial kind of phase of you know, uninformed optimism, you know. And how does your passion in terms of sticking with like on a discipline route, you know, how does that continue seeing it through all the way and keeping that vision alive, of keeping that passion around through this discipline?
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, like I said, you know, like obviously your discipline drives everything you do, you know, but I feel like when it comes to like passion for sake, you know, sometimes you sometimes you have to just kind of humble your own self. You know, no one can do it for yourself. So sometimes you just have to retract yourself from whatever is happening. Like, you remind yourself, like, this is what I'm doing it for. You know, this is for the people that I want to change. This is for the people that I want to provide for. You know, I'm a big person, just like religion and just family. You know, but when it comes to family, you know, I want to give my future wife what she deserves, my future kids what they deserve. You know, I always remind myself, okay, I may not like it right now, but I know 5-6 years from now, when I have a little whatever running around, you know,
a little sauce
running around, and then I have, you know, the wife kind of there, you know, they're gonna come rely on me, you know, for stuff, and I have to be ready to accept it, you know, and I want to be that person for them, you know. I don't want to be useless. I don't want to be incompetent for them, you know. That's why sometimes I just remind myself, okay, if you're not gonna do it for yourself, do it for them, you know. Do it for the people who are in your inner circle. And I guess that also comes with passion. You know, you asked me earlier what your passion. I feel like that's also what it is. I do it for the people that are around me, you know. I'm always talking about, like, I have to be that person to change history. You know, I hate looking back at the family history and stuff like that. You know, my parents sacrificed so much. My family, my bloodline in general, you know, we've been through so much, you know, but it's always this constant of repetition of what's going on. You know, we get here, but then we fall back down 3 steps, you know. But I'm always kind of doing it like, okay, Ricky, you know, like, this is probably like what's happening. This is a recurrence of your family, you know. This is a recurrence of people's lives in general, you know. Happens to everybody, you know. You see, you look left and you look right, you know. You're gonna see somebody.
There's always some type of family curse, you know. And
exactly.
It definitely seems like your passion drives your thoughts and originality of wanting to be the one to stop it, you know.
No, 100%.
In terms of like giving advice to anyone out there, you know, like how do you take that next level of passion and really align it with growth? Like how do you take a passion and just you know stamp it to growth, you know, because you can be passionate about something but you might not grow in that area. I mean, you've talked about multiple facets of your life that has grown because you're passionate about these things, but like, you know, how do you take that opportunity to choose to grow with your passions instead of not choosing to let your passions kind of hold you stagnant, or maybe let your passions hold you behind, you know?
And I think with growth is just anything, you know, like I said before, you know, I've always sought answers, you know. I've sought answers to understand myself, you know.
Always sought out answers.
Sought out answers, I should say, I'm sorry, but it's just one of those things that I go back to my family, you know, like it scares the hell out of me that I was like, okay, Ricky, you're on a full ride, you know, you accomplished so much, you played semi-pro baseball, you know, you did all of this, and I'm a first generation here, you know. I did it with people helping me, you know, but at the same time, it all comes within myself, you know.
A level of independency.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just one of those things about, like, I've always wanted to be the best version of myself. I've always wanted to be that person that can be provider, can be the perfect person, the friend, the son, the brother, whatever it may be. But that all comes from growing, you know. You can't just stay in one place and expect different results. You know, you gotta seek for different answers to get different results, and I think that's what it comes from, just growing as a person. You know, you have to keep seeking answers in order for you to grow. You know, you have to find questions you gotta find questions to things you don't even know about yet, you know.
I think one of the best advice you ever gave me is we were talking about my mom and you know, going to see her again, and I was like, man, I don't have any questions for her, and you responded with saying, Deb, you don't know that you don't have any questions. And I was like, fair point, you know. It's putting ourselves in those situations so that we can be able to be surrounded in the environments where those questions can organically come true, you know, can come about. You know, it's not necessarily seeking out questions, but it's seeking out environments that provoke questions, provoke our thoughts, provoke the curiosity. So I mean, you touch on all great points. One thing that I'm really curious about is your passion for going against the narrative of life. I know that I fall in this category as well, but you're definitely like big into, when people go right, you go left, why are you passionate in that sense of just being, different and taking a more divergent path? What does that passion come from?
I guess it's out of fear, out of fear of just being average, one of my mentors one time told me, like, being average, you're either just the bottom of the top or the top of the bottom, I don't want to be that same person, I always think about, I said earlier, I want to write a book, one day. I want people to learn about me. Well, how cool of a story would it be, that, he graduated, congrats, he went to college, congrats, he got a nice job, congrats, he's getting a nice paying job, congrats.
Still seems pretty basic and average.
It's a basic story, I'm not saying anything bad about that. Anybody who lives that style, who has that life, but at the same time, I fear that, like, if I was to fall into that, people aren't gonna learn from me. People aren't gonna be inspired from me. So I guess it just comes. It's not fear of people won't be inspired from me. I guess it's just from my own self. I've lived life with so much fear. I got abused as a kid, I lost my best friend when he went out at a very young age, and it's just kind of like stuff. I'm still standing, I had a conversation with my dad, he was just like, he's like, Ricky, you're a strong person, everything that's happened, and you're still standing here. You got something in you. The reason you're still here, you may not know yet, but you got to know that you're a strong person. You're a strong individual, that people naturally gravitate towards you. I've noticed that, growing up and you just maturing in life, I'm blessed with, like, having little cousins, every time they see me, they run up with the little hands and kind of just hug me, and it feels very good, because you don't know how many people you're impacting, and I'm just being myself, I'm not doing anything different, but I'm just being myself, but the thing that...
But the funny thing about you being yourself is that you are different. You're unique. We're all humans that have a intellectual and very interesting way about life, but at the same time, like, the way you have your intelligence, the way you have your adaptivity, the way you just kind of are innately, placed in life like that, you're just a catalyst. You're just different, that's kind of what set you on a divergent path.
And another thing is that, like, exactly, I totally agree with everything you said, and I feel like, just our lives, you and I always talk about, we had to grow up so fast, we had to grow up so fast. By the time we were like 6-7 years old, we knew that you have to be something, you have to be somebody, so I feel like that's why when people go left, I go right, people go right, I go left, it's because I'm just seeking different answers, and if I want to seek an answer over here, I know 99% of people, I could ask somebody over there and I'm gonna find it, but that 1% is the unknown, I've always been fond about the unknown, I've never been scared to jump into a situation and fail, but failing and learning is what I really like, without failure you can't learn,
I agree.
It's like somebody once said, you only learn from failure, you never fail, you learn.
And I think that's truly what sets you on a more like differential path than everyone else, and I think that's what allows us to think differently too, is that we don't think in outcomes of win or loss. We think in outcomes of win or lesson, because I play the game of life to win.
No, 100%.
But if we don't win in a circumstance, we use it as a lesson, or we use it as a learned experience, and I think having that perspective, mindset perspective and things like that, that's truly what allows me to continue to chase some passions, because maybe you've had a couple passion projects that you probably started up, but where are they at today?
No, so before I started the business I have now, I had my own kind of clothing brand, it was a fitness brand. Our motto was like, all the championships were won in the off-season. Our name was Off-Season Champions, that was our brand, and our brand was supposed to represent that all the work is done behind the closed doors. And that was the model, like I said, I've always trying to be that person to try to motivate somebody. That was the message behind our Off-Season Champions, because everything is happening behind closed doors. All the battles are won behind closed doors. You take anything in life, people who are suffering from anything mental, there every day is an everyday battle, you know. For me, you know, with anxiety, you know, whatever I may be going through, every day I have to fight and get up, you know. It's like, boom, get up, just get up, you know. I like what's it called, this quote of just go do it, you know. Just keep going, you know. Whatever, don't think, just go do it, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really like kind of like sometimes drives me, you know, just being able to. I think that's one of my also powerful aspects about myself, is that I'm able to kind of come out of any situation, you know. I'm gonna come out on top, you know. I'm a fighter, you know. We all are bloodlines, you know, our past, our history, you know. We're fighters. That's where we come from. That's where we originate, you know. You have to get up and fight, you know. You have to get up and fight for the people around you. You have to get up and fight for yourself, you know.
Yeah.
Because you're the variable. You're the deciding variable in people's lives. You know. You may not know it, but it's just a situation that you're dealing with. You know. You have to get up and go do this stuff for him. You have to get up and do things for her. You know.
Yeah. I mean, all amazing points, and truly, this is like. I mean, this feels so like. This feels like another Tuesday that we're just having a conversation. Like it's very on brand to the things that we talk about, and it's very on brand to the type of mental state of mind that we both chase. You know, it's just that ability to kind of see through the short-term rewards and seek out short-term pain so that we have long-term rewards, you know. I don't feel like enough people punish themselves. Like this is something I don't know you and I ever like chatted about, but what's the thoughts on self-discipline, you know? I know we talked about discipline as a whole, but like, I mean, you and I are physical specimen that, you know, sometimes we find ways to put ourselves in check, and I think that's what a lot of people miss, and that's what a lot of people lack in terms of having passions as well, you know, in terms of having a divergent path, in terms of knowing what your passions are, because the types of passions we have, people will look at us and be like, you wanna what? You know, it's the types of things that you'd see only influencers or celebrities or people with large amounts of influence look to share thoughts on, you know, creating opportunities for others that would have never been given any chance at life, you know?
Yeah.
And we create those opportunities because there's nothing better to do than create, you know? And if you're able to create something that others can truly benefit from, you know, it makes like, I just think about this full circle moment, you know? It circularizes passion, heart, the way life is, you feel me? I mean, because we're gonna live and die.
Right, 100%.
But while we're here, you know, how can we look to circulate those positive feelings that life is very important. Life is symbolic, you know? And how can we still shine those very positive thoughts to other people? It's by having that voice and sharing it and being able to have the different types of passions. I mean, it extends so much farther beyond than like what we can really see it now.
Right.
But I just know that with the visions that we have, the opportunities at our fingertips, like, I mean, truly, it's beyond belief the types of lives and hearts we'll be able to touch and impact in the future, you know, and just knowing that we're on a divergent path, okay? Knowing that, you know, at one point in time, there was a moment where it was a life-altering experience, you know? Like, when did you know you had to take a different path than others? It could have been an instance, it could have been multiple things, like as a culmination, but like, when did you know that you decided to take the road less traveled because you realized that will get you a lot farther in terms of your intrinsic motivators, in terms of your passions, in terms of how you plan to discipline yourself? You know, how has that road less traveled really allowed you to grow?
I guess so going back to like original, look, stepping back a second, I guess I knew right away when I was like 3, 4, 5 years old, you know, I mentioned it here, but you know, I was abused as a kid, you know. I was like, and for so long, you know, it happened for so long, it happened at such a young age, you know. Little kids they're like Play-Doh, you know. You mold them to whoever you're gonna be like, you know.
Yeah.
And they're so delicate, you know.
They take the shape of the beholder.
Exactly, dude. and what that happened was so long ago, you know, and right away, you know, and that's when I kind of made up my mind. I was like, dude, no one's coming to save you, you know. I guess when I was like 5 and I realized that this reoccurrence of these situations are like, they were happening, and I was like, man, nothing's changing, you know. So I had to dig myself out of my own hole, you know, for so long. I didn't have people I could talk to, you know. I closed myself off to my parents, you know. That caused me to kind of like distance myself. I purposely distanced myself. So that right there, you know, is like a road that not a lot of people get to exactly. They don't get to experience, you know. And like I said, I'm very blessed to have had 2 parents that never gave up on me. And you know, I'm very blessed to still have them. But at the same time, you know, I knew right away that I was not going to be this kid that's just gonna grow up, you know. It was always in the back of my mind. I took up sports very serious, you know. That's how I distracted myself for so long. All I did was eat, breathe, dream, and whatever it may be, sports, baseball and wrestling. Those were my 2 best sports, you know. I had so many accomplishments in sport of wrestling, and obviously with baseball as well, you know. And for so long, I dedicated myself. Okay, I'm gonna do this, you know, because I want to become a pro ball player. You know, I want to do this because nobody in my family do. I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna prove everybody wrong. You know, I'm gonna prove them that I was kind of like a selfish person. You know, like I want to prove them that, you know, I could do this on my own. I did it on my own. You know, and it was just one of those things that I knew right away that, and like I said, no one was saving me. I knew right away that you're different, you know. I knew right away, you know. I was like, dude, you're fighting every day just to kind of wake up and just kind of go about your day, you know. You're fighting every day to kind of just be within your own thoughts, you know. That's not normal, you know. It's not normal to be within your own thoughts, thinking about all these BS thoughts about
at least at such a young age, you know. And I mean, kind of my thoughts lean towards like, what were the things you were giving up in order to have that focus, to have that kind of control over those types of life influences that were able to, in your words, kind of distract you and keep you, you know, keep your mind busy so that, you know, you could keep the right positive things at the forefront of your mind, you know. Like, you know, what were the things that you gave up? If it was physical or if it was emotional, that you just had to release and let go and go out on faith and go out on boldness and go out on courageousness.
I guess some of the things that I gave up for so long was definitely my social circle, you know. I'm a social butterfly, but at the same time,
like the biggest social butterfly.
I'm a social butterfly, but at the same time, you know, I've always kind of like struggled to find people who were in my circle, you know. I was always hanging around here, you know, but I didn't spend enough time in here, you know. I didn't spend enough time kind of like trying to find people who I can talk to, who I can maybe rely on to whenever something was going on. And I tended to close myself off, you know. And I got so good at hiding everything with a smile, with a joke, you know. Because that's the person who I was, you know. But it got to a point where I was just really numb to whatever I was feeling, you know. That's why we never talk about, you know, what you're going through, you know, as whatever. It's everything, you know. I didn't never talked about what I was going through, you know. If someone asked me what I was going through, you know, I twist it, you know. So and then I ask them, oh, how are you doing, you know? Enough about me, you know. I was like, I don't want you to listen about me, you know. But I really want to listen about you, you know. I'm thinking about you, you know, constantly. So just really, it made me feel really good just to know about what's going on in your life. And even to this day, you know, I try to catch myself. People really have to, like yourself, you've known me for so long now that you know how to ask those questions. You know, when I'm saying something and it's like a BS, I'm trying to hide something, you ask it differently just to get what I really want to say, you know. But it just kind of it takes time, you know. It takes time to find people like that. It takes time to find brothers that you can really count on, you know. Now I'm in a position in my life where
with having a social circle,
with having a tight social circle, you know. I don't just let anybody, you know. Every time I meet someone new, you know, I got really good at analyzing people. I could see through people's like lies and what they really mean behind what they say. And so that's why like I hone in so much on like I guess my good friends now. Because Thankfully, God blessed me with the ability to have good friends around me, you know, who I can really trust on, who I can rely on, who'll hear my cries, you know, who will listen to my story, you know, just so I could regroup myself, you know. That sometimes just talking about it just helps you, you know.
100%.
And then kind of like
it seems to me that paired up with not giving in to a mediocre mentality, because anyone could have easily let their emotions overcome them. Anyone through your circumstance could have at one point in time could have given up, you know.
Right.
And that could look and take different forms, you know, but you never gave up. You always believed. You always had faith. I know you said you're really driven by fear, but fear and faith fall on the same line, on the same coin, and they're just two sides of the same coin. So it really, you have a mixture of both, and I think that's truly beautiful. You have to be somewhat fearful, but at the same time, you shouldn't let your fears hold you back from the faiths that you had, because, I mean, from the moment that you identified that my life was going to be something of significance, something that they could write books about, you know, you never looked back, you know. I mean, what's the one saying that, you know, your dad shared with you and your brothers when it came to when you start something?
Oh man, my dad, man, I love that man, dude. He was definitely very blunt, you know. I'll tell you that first of all, but you know, he's always telling us if you start something, you have to finish it. You know, that's what being a man is. You know, if you say something, you gotta do it. You know, accountability. You know, accountability, reliability. All those things is what he really tried to instill in us. You know, and just great work ethic. You know, he's always telling us that like you're not a man if you do this. You know, if you say you're gonna do something, but then your actions speak differently. You know, your actions speak, and they correlate with what your words say. You know, what does that say? If you say you're gonna do something, but your actions speak differently.
Otherwise,
that's what we call like phony. You know, my dad.
Phony, facade, two-faced.
Two-faced, you know.
Not necessarily in alignment with who you are, you know.
No, exactly, and it's like one of those things that I kind of always put some also like a little different kind of another like thought, but being two-faced, you know, I've always been that person, you know. I definitely would classify myself as early on in my life I was two-faced, you know. I'd say I would do this, you know, I'd do it, but at the same time, you know, what I would speak isn't what I would kind of believe in myself, you know. I always spoke positivity and energetic, you know, and all these other things, you know, for those people, you know, because they needed it, you know, but I didn't believe my own lies, you know, at the time, you know, and it's not saying that they're lies, you know, but at the time I didn't know what happiness was, you know. I didn't know what a true smile was, you know. I'd smile and shake things off, you know, but that's what the two-faced would be, and I'm definitely falling guilty of that, you know, because behind closed doors, underneath Ricky, you know, there was so much things that were going on inside my head, inside just my life in general, that nobody really knew because I never spoke about it, and I guess I didn't have the trust in speaking, you know. I had this gap of just having trust issues, you know.
And it's hard to trust yourself when your actions don't align, you know. I proposed this question the other day in my social media, and I actually love it a lot. You know, do you talk to yourself or do you listen to yourself? And what does that really mean, you know? And what you're listening to and what you're talking and how you're talking to yourself, like, are they in alignment with each other? Because the answer to that is you should be doing both. You should be both doing talking and listening. I mean, I love having conversations with myself personally, you know? I'm one of those people, but you have to be one of those people because you have to unlock those certain different levels within yourself, and you can't unlock those levels unless you actually ask pointed questions, and then you actually respond to your questions. Too many people ask the questions and get fearful of the answers and let them go. You're letting yourself go every single time you do that. And I think that's just, again, a mediocre mentality. You feel me? Just kind of settling for just having this question and having a little bit of inclination and insight to what the answer is, but you're too fearful that you won't be able to do anything about the answer and its truth, you know? I wanted to kind of just follow this up because we're talking about something that I love, and it's identity, you know? How does your passions align with your identity and the person that you are today and the person you will visualize yourself being in the future, you know? What what is the identity of yourself in terms of impact?
I guess, what is the identity of myself in terms of impact, you know? I guess, well, I'll first start by saying who I am as a person, you know, who I am, you know? Some simple question you ask this to normal people and they won't be able to answer, you know, but this is a certain question that I've spent so many years seeking, you know, who are you? Who am I, you know? Am I Ricardo Salcedo, the baseball player? Am I the wrestler, whatever it may be? Yeah. You know, but since I gave up sports, you know, for like, it took me like a year and a half, 2 years to like fully accept, Ricky, you're not this high level competitive athlete anymore. You know, you gotta find something new. And I guess my identity would be Ricardo Salcedo, entrepreneur, future Marine, you know. These things is what's molding me to be in the future, you know. All these things in the past helped me mold me for who I'm gonna become, you know. Yeah. My experiences is what make me, you know. I'm Ricardo Salcedo, you know, the kid,
a survivor.
I guess the survivor, you know. And I don't always like using that word, you know, because it's like there's definitely people out there that have had it way worse than me, you know. There's
always gonna be.
There's always people like that, but I guess that's the best way you could do it, you know. I guess you could say, I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor of this stuff, you know.
You are, right?
I was able to eat my own, you know, my own poop, you know, and feed it to myself, you know, as opposed to these other people who like they got it fed with a silver spoon, you know. That's not me, you know. I'm never gonna pretend to be someone who I'm not, you know, because I think one of my core values as well is what's it called? Authenticity, you know. People gotta see who I really am, whether I'm behind on a Zoom call, behind on a phone call, you know, or you see me in person, you know. My value is very transparent to other people, you know. They're gonna see who I am 2 days from now, 5 years from now, or 10 years from now.
In any mode, you know.
In any mode, I'm gonna be as authentic as possible, you know. That's how my dad raised me. He told me, you know, the best thing you could give out to the world is just being yourself, you know. Yeah. You can't hide behind anything, you know. That's why you see a lot of people kind of suffering from like Instagram, like they try to compare themselves. Yeah. That's all BS, you know.
Comparison is the thief of joy. You know, it truly is. Like, there can't be any other toxic influence than that idea of comparison. You know. Yeah. If you try to compare yourself and your journey or the impacts to you to someone else, like, you know, it's so variable. You know, it's not consistent. It's way outside of the realm of you know, comparison. Yeah. A person like you on your path can't compare it to anyone else.
No, and exactly, and I feel like it also just comes with like within myself, you know. Obviously, like I've heard so many people, you know. I heard my parents, you know. I've heard some of my friends, you know. Someone who's really important to me, you know. They've stuck around for so long, you know. And I always question, I was like, why do people just keep sticking around? Like I purposely try to like exclude them from my life so they don't have to see that. So I always thought for so long that if I excluded myself from people's lives, I'd be saving them from a burden of it, you know. Yeah. And it's just kind of one of those things that I accepted, you know. That's Ricky. That was you. You're immature. You're a child. That's who you were. I had to grow up, you know. I had to grow up mentally, you know. I had to grow up physically and just spiritually, you know. I had to accept everything that I did, you know. And that's one of those things about. Another thing that I always sought was seek out was peace, you know. And I feel like the first thing finding peace is accepting what you've done. Yep. Accepting that the things that's happened to you, accepting that the things that everybody around you, you know. Acceptance is, I feel like, it's the number one thing when it comes to trying to find peace. You know, I'm a big person of inner peace, you know. Yeah. I'm definitely, I think I'm confident to say that I'm on the route to finding it, you know. But there's so many things that I still gotta figure out, you know. There's so many things that I gotta learn, you know. There's so many wrongs that I gotta do right over, I should say, you know. So many people I gotta apologize to, but
probably not as many as you think. But there's definitely some to put on a list.
No,
and be able to, you know, make sure that you follow through on that.
No, 100%. And it just sucks because like some of these people have stuck around for so long that the only way I could show them that I'm a changed person is through my actions, is through growth, is like what we're talking about, you know. I agree with that. I've always told them, you know, and I'm a change, you know, but for so long it never happened, you know. Something that I try to trick myself into thinking like you're gonna change, but you would find yourself back in the loop because I was never taking those actions to actually grow. I was saying I wanted a girl, but then the conversation was done and I closed it off and boom, I'd be gone.
That comes back to your like last point, is that like a point you made was that the fear, you know, you're driven by fear. And I mean, what's one of our favorite lines from one of our most influential business partners? Action cures fear.
Action cures fear.
And action can't be taken without faith to overcome your fears, you know? I mean, you bring up some great moments, and I mean, shout out for you for sharing your thoughts on the things that your father have definitely instilled in your life. That's not the person that I had in my life that I grew up with, so understanding the things your dad instilled in you is like, I mean, you know, shout out Jose. That's the guy.
Yeah, and it also just kind of, just looking at my parents, you know, they've gone through so much, but from my dad in particular, you know, and my mom instilled so many things in me as well, you know. She's instilled compassion, she's instilled love in me, you know, and it's taken me so long to like try to build a connection back up with her, and I'm in a spot where I could open up to her a little more, you know. But my dad and I are just like, we're a similar person, you know. I'm a duplicate of my father, you know, but something that he's always kind of like made me realize that being strong is just talking, you know. He shares some of his experiences growing up. He shares some of those mistakes that he's done, and it takes a lot for a man to admit to their own son, you know. It's just, let alone somebody else, you know, that what they've done, you know, how they've come up from it, you know. And that to me is very powerful, you know. A lot of men out there wanna try to hide their feelings and whatever it may be, and it's okay, you know. That's who you are, but that's not everybody, you know.
And I think that stems back to like what your dad said, was the best thing that you could do for you and anyone else is just to be yourself. And I think that's where we start to have problems in life, in our identity, in our passions, and on the path that we're on, is that we don't like to sit and have all of those identities kind of in alignment with each other. We kind of want to stack them off and keep them separate. But at the end of the day, you can compartmentalize your thoughts, but you cannot compartmentalize who you are as a person, you know. You can't be one person one day and act like a completely other person the next day and expect there to be some type of growth, you feel me? And I think that's kind of what your story has been able to be a culmination of, is pulling in all those pieces of yourself, the past, present, and knowing what your future is, and understanding that there has to be alignment, and there has to be some rectification towards some of the things that aren't aligned yet. And having your parents and understand that, you know, we birthed such an amazing young man, and the best thing for them to tell you is to be yourself. I mean, that's the most empowering thing anyone's ever told me, or anyone's ever, you know, shared with me. You know, my mom's thing was never tell yourself that you can't, you know. That was the motivation that I received from, you know, my parents and my upbringing. I mean, that's got me this far, and to this day, there's very, very, very limited times you've ever heard Devian say he can't do anything, you know? It's just not in my vocabulary. It's just not in my thought process. It's just that willingness to quit, like your dad shared with you, it's just not possible. The willingness to say that I can't do something it's not in our thought process. I truly believe that your passions will take you very far. I truly believe that your identity will continue to develop over time.
100%, you know.
And this divergent path that you're on, it's a beautiful one, you know. It's one that needs to get told.
Yeah, and I'm happy you brought me here, you know, and it's trying to keep inspiring people, you know. That's what my goal is, you know. Just who can I inspire, you know? It's my little cousin, Freddie, who I'm gonna meet in 10 years. Whoever it may be, you know. And that's what I really strive for, you know. You never know who I'm gonna encounter and it's gonna change my life, or who I'm gonna encounter and I'm gonna change their lives, you know. And I think that's what the values of life is, not knowing who you're gonna meet, not knowing where you're gonna go, you know. But that's another thing about, you know, you have to take leaps of faith, you know. You have to take leaps of faith for you to be able to grow as a person, and just grow as a gender, you know. It's teaching people how to take leaps of faith in order for them to grow internally and externally.
1,000%.
Well,